we have a loan of $50,000. The term is going to be 30 years at 8%. The monthly payment is going to be $366.88. For the first three payments, we want to know two things. First, what's the balance on the principal of the loan after each payment? And then split each payment into the amount paid towards principal, the amount paid towards interest. Now, I want to clarify two things. First, our 8% interest rate. We're going to assume that's a nominal annual rate. So, since we're making monthly payments, we're going to assume that we're going to compound interest at the end of each month. So that means we'll have 12 periods in a year. So the actual interest rate I use for each month is going to be our 8%, or 0.08, divided by 12. So that's going to give us an interest rate per month of 0.66 repeating percent, or a factor of 0.006, and then that repeats. Next, our payment of $366.88. So where does that come from? So the idea is we go to our table that tells us how much to charge for a loan of $1,000. We look up our term of 30 years at 8%. Then the factor that gives me in my table is going to be $7.34. So for each $1,000 that you loan, you charge $7.34. Here we have $50,000, so we divide by 1,000. That gives me a 50, so that's what we multiply by. So multiply our $7.34 times 50, I get $367, and that's just our payment rounded off. Now, 1 month goes by, interest is applied, we make our first payment. So to compute, what do? We take our $50,000, we're going to multiply by 1 plus our interest factor. So the 1 says carry your principal along, then we're adding the interest amount to that. Then we're going to subtract off our first payment. So the balance on our principal after the first payment is going to be $49,966.45. If I want to split the payment up to the amount going to principal, amount going to interest, note, if I want the amount going to principal, we just take the difference in the original principal with the new principal. So that's going to give me $33.55. Then what's left over is going to go to interest. So if we take the difference between $366.88, take off the principal amount, the $33.55, I get $333.33. Of course, we could go the other way around to check our work. I multiply the $50,000 times 0.006 repeating. That gives me the interest, $333.33. So there's two ways to go about this. You can either find the interest first by using your interest factor, or you can get your principal by taking the difference. All right, another month goes by, we apply interest, then we make our payment. So we take the balance from before, so the $49,966.45, multiply by 1 plus our interest factor, subtract off our payment. So the new balance on our principal is going to be $49,932.68. If I want to know how much we just paid towards principal, take the difference with our original principal. So it's going to give me $33.77. Then what's left over from our payment is going to go to interest. So we subtract our $33.77 off of our payment of $366.88. Gives me the interest of $333.11. Of course, we can check our work by just taking our balance, okay, the $49,966.45, multiply by 0.006 repeating, and out comes the $333.11 to check our work. Finally, third month goes by, we apply interest, subtract off our payment. So we take the balance from before, apply 1 plus our interest factor, subtract off our payment, we get $49,898.68. Now, to get the amount paid towards principal and interest, let's do it backwards. So first, we'll compute the interest paid. To get that, we take our balance before we apply interest, multiply by the interest factor. It gives me $332.88. So that's how much we paid towards interest. So the amount towards principal is just going to be the difference in the payment and the interest payment. So that's just going to be at $34. Now to check our work, we just take the difference in the balance before we apply interest and after interest in the payment. It's going to be the difference between here. And when we do that, out comes our $34. So that checks our work.